Hey, I'm Tilini, a passionate business analyst who's been through that new job, new product, new domain feeling more than the times I could count. You know that moment when you step into a new space and think, where do I even start with? I've been there, whether it's been ERP, CRM, or SaaS. Every time I've had to quickly understand the moving part, build trust with new teams, and find ways to add value without having all answers up front. I really enjoy learning new domains. So I've had the opportunity to put together a simple playbook that helped me and also some amazing BAs who worked alongside me to get up to speed and make an impact. In this video, I'm sharing that guide with you. If you're stepping into something new or helping someone to do the same, or you're a fresh BA who are trying to navigate through your first gig, I hope this gives you a head start. Let's get into it. I am a travel addict, so I have themed this presentation in the travel aspect. So, welcome to this journey where we navigate all tools, rituals, collaborative frameworks which will help you elevate your analyst practice. I like to think this as laying down the map before we start the hike. It's not about having all the answers. It's about making sure we are aligned of who we are, who's with us, and what success looks like. And most importantly, at the end of this exercise, you will be able to understand which parts of your domain or your deliverables or your rituals are clear and which parts not. And it gives you a good current state. Therefore, you can keep on improving on different variations of your product, of your processes, or as a member of the team, you can start adding value and grow your team together to success. Let's begin. So in here, I will take you through three aspects. First one is the map. Every successful analyst needs navigational tool frameworks to chart the course. It could be complex business requirements, it could be stakeholder expectations, or it could be managing your workload with competing priorities. Second one is the most important thing, the crew. Business analyst is the glue that keeps the team together and create a positive environment for the team. So in this section, I will help you how to set up team rituals, collaborative environment, and how you can establish clear communication patterns that's comfortable for everyone, where everyone feels safe to communicate and collaborate and contribute for the success of your product or project. Last one is a base camp. Just as all climbers need a safe place to return, analysts and the team need shared context, a common understanding of goals, priorities, and constraints, which provides stability venturing into challenging business problems. So this is where we learn, grow, and pivot when needed. So enjoy the journey. I will take you through each step of the way. Check in. What is in your analyst backpack? Every business analyst has unique strengths. Not every business analyst is the same. Also, not every product or project is the same. Depending on the gig you're in, the expectations from you could be different. So it's very important to understand what kind of business analyst you are. Also, what kind of business analyst your project or product needs. Sometimes it could be the compass type business analyst where you need to step in as a visionary and understand the big picture. Sometimes you might need to fill in the gap where you are the main person who's in charge of detail oriented documents or execution details which enables teams to achieve the outcomes. Sometimes you might be expected to be the problem sorter or the risk hunter depending on the stage your product or project in. And last one, the domain jumper who connects the dots. Sometimes it might be not really clear why we're doing things in this order or what customer benefit we're trying to provide. And your role there would be to ask those questions and make sure the product gets the best outcome from the clarity. So take a moment to reflect which item represents best your approach as a business analyst. It will help you select the job that you enjoy. And also, if you're planning to provide value and best possible outcome for your project or product at the current state, identifying what sort of a business analyst input that your product or project benefit with will help you um, meticulously in everything that you do. So this is just a note for you. Just read about it and think what strengths you have. As of me, I am more of a compass business analyst where I see big picture. Also, I combination of a flashlight as well, where I'm a problem spotter. And I really try to find the projects that I can add my analytical and strategic strengths, where it's enjoyable for me. I have a lot of fun, as well as product gets benefited from it. Second one, understand the internal process. Depending on the team you join, the maturity of your internal processes can be different. Before we build or ship anything, it's essential to understand how the internal engine works, what type of releases you have, what type of deliverable, and the frequency of it. So this process helps us align with product goals and commercial value. It helps us think through dependencies, risks, and testing scope. It involves right people at the right time, and understanding it will help us connect to them. And this will help the whole team move with confidence, not chaos. When you move to delivery life cycle, it's important to understand the current state of these key stages. What is the stage your product roadmap and prioritization have? What is refining user stories mean to your project or product? What is the development of user stories mean? And finally, how do you ship and how do you pitch these enhancements for your customer segment? Each of these sections can have different maturity and different expectations depending on your project and product. This is a sample of a good product that in detail where you can do, and it's just a sample. I will set up some more resources and share it with you how you can understand your current state and identify room for improvement. So product roadmap and prioritization, there would be several activities you go through that. And when refining user stories, these will be your main items that you include or consider in it. In development user stories, how do we make sure that it's developed in right quality and right expectation from the business? And for go-to-market, there could be multiple levels of communication and resources that you need to support depending on your product. Moving on, it's very important to understand your stakeholders. I usually like to think is and know your stakeholders and their working hours depending on the involvement. I usually set this kind of chart and fill it with a experienced team member of the project or product where I can identify each team member in the core team. You can have business analysts, developers, QAs, and then your project managers could be involved, and end users, executives, and then at the informed circle, you can have senior leadership that keeps your progress accounted for. And when you think of the layer, the main area of RACI focus, the core team would be responsible for what you deliver. The involved people is really important to understand, so you get their feedback, approval, sign-offs on time, and then the extended stakeholders, and at which point you need to keep them informed and consulted, and at which point of time in your deliverables that you get their involvement on. I have also set up some resources on this one. If you're interested, I will share it at the end. And why this matters: understanding stakeholder roles allows BA and the team to know who to bring into discussions early, and then it helps you streamline sign-offs and feedback loops, which helps you reduce the rework and waiting time. Also, it helps improve stakeholder confidence and reduce churn. Best way to fill this out if you're moving into a new product is you can take one example initiative that you are working on or your team has been working on, and fill in all these roles, taking that as a guide. And in future, you can keep evolving it if you come to know that there's other stakeholders that you need to keep informed in the cycle. This is how you could plan your day as a pro traveler. Being a business analyst can be a challenging task because you work with multiple stakeholders and they all have expectations from you. So you will have to talk with a lot of people as well as set your space and keep your time slots where you can do your focus work. So I have put it into 4 quadrants. First one is set your space. What time would be best for your quiet reflection time, email triage, and priority setting? And also quick team check-in to see if everybody's expectations are same. And then use your rhythm, not the noise, as your guide. If you have set brief walks, screen breaks, and context switching pauses intentionally, it helps you be more productive. And then when to zoom in and when to zoom out. If your focus time works better in the morning, I advise you to have all the meetings afternoon. And at your focus time, block your notifications. In requirement analysis, plan it in advance and get all the people who need in the room be available and their highest productive time. And then for document creation, which works best for you. Keep those slots aside so you can provide best quality and outcome for your project. Collaborative bursts. Schedule peer reviews, stakeholder check-ins, and users testing sessions in advance and in recurring sessions if that's predictable. It will help you save a lot of time trying to have ad hoc meetings and get time out of your stakeholders if that is a usual day-to-day thing. Moving on, set the scene. Once you're settled in and know your stakeholders and know your ground, this is about bringing intention to how we work together. As a team, it's not just ticking boxes. We need to have ceremonies that adds value. When you step into the new team, there could be lots of new stakeholders. Sometimes knowing your stakeholders would be best if that's a one-on-one conversation. Usually, when I join a new domain, I have one-on-one conversations if there's an engineering manager or a product manager, as well as a designer, because they work in different contexts and they do have different outcomes they're working for. When you talk about your tech team, it's usually helpful when you work together in a delivery, in a development, that you have an icebreaker and good understanding communication lines with the whole team. So this slide is an exercise where you can use with your team, could be a 30-minute, to know a bit about your team, how they work, and in a personal note, connect with them as people so we can work together and share things we enjoy and make your working life enjoyable. The next one, all the teams can have different states of safety and belonging. Having a well performing team that unlocks innovation, that unlocks great work, needs psychological safety. It's sometimes very important to have understanding of how each member feel on different aspects of your product or projects or goals you're working towards, so it creates us opportunities to improve. As a start, you can start how much directional alignment you have as a team, how much decision authority you have, how much support clarity you have, team connection, ritual effectiveness, and work life balance, and what's the expectation for it. The true value of this exercise lies in conversation it sparks. It's not scores. So periodically do this to see if your team is moving towards a psychological safe and pleasant working environment. And it helps to deliver great outcome when your team members are happy. Base camp workouts. At the end of the session, you can have a session where you can ask everyone how do they work best, what are their focus time, what throws them off course. how best we could stay in touch. Some prefer emails, some prefer calls, and some prefer guidelines where the whole team can agree how to escalate some urgent tasks and how can we flag things if there's not urgent. And also, it's very important to know where the handoff points of the tasks are. Chart teams course together, from personal itineraries to shared agreement, just as we've explored how individual analysts can improve productivity by planning their task, it's equally important to shape how we operate as a team. Before we embark any project, as you step in as a new team member and there's people who've already worked in the project, it's really important to align how team works together. It's not just what you provide and your timeline, it's about how the team communicate, collaborate, and handle bumps along the road. So these are samples of things that you should talk with your team, and I will share a template where you can facilitate these discussions when you join a new team. So what the team recommend and what the team values in form of interactions and collaborations. It will help you understand the working pattern of the team and the product, and then it's equally important to clearly articulate if there's things that team do not want to encourage in the setting, such as unclear scope definitions, and if there's silent disagreements, and if there's any last minute request, how to tag it and their urgency, and what kind of language communication medium, either it's no calls during meetings, tag message before you directly call, etc. It all depends on your team and your team members. And then most importantly, when there's a bump, how can we address it? Do we have enough placeholders to talk about blockers? Do we have agreed standards and documentation needs if there's a pivot in decisions or the direction or a sprint goal? Why a travel charter is important? Think this as your boarding pass. A shared agreement helps you set right expectations and strengthen your work as a team. It helps you reflect how you want to work, and it promotes psychological safety and predictability, and also gives a map for alignment in moments of ambiguity. This helps the whole team by avoiding misunderstanding and rework. Here is a sample canvas where you can use to define purpose, goals, values, and what each role expects in, in this each areas of topic. I will share this canvas with you in a link. Okay, then the most important thing is to understand the roles and responsibilities of your current team members. This can be different according to your project or according to your team. Sometimes if you assume the usual BA roles and responsibilities are these and I should step into it, and if there's a person already responsible for doing that, it might create a double work or waste effort. So just know your current state, and if there's a future expectation to change it, then you can set that expectations clearly and do your own work without knowing that other person is working on it as well. So this helps you avoid confusion and duplication, it clarifies ownership, and it helps you collaborate more efficiently. And at the same time, knowing who should be consulted and informed, it reduces decision-making bottlenecks and keep all the stakeholders on with right level of information. So this is a sample of a usual agile team, but it could change depending on your product. This one is a most interesting yet the most versatile one, knowing your domain. Learn, adopt, and connect the dots. With my experience, every time I stepped into a domain, there's no one template fits all for this. So I plan to do a different session where, depending on problem space, what kind of resource would help you get the common understanding within a team, as well as what kind of resource would help you get the better understanding. But usually, to know the business domain as a business analyst, one thing that I have found helpful is a discovery map, which clarify problem statements, visions, and value proposition of your project and the product lifecycle. This helps align stakeholders and understand their requests better. The second one is a customer journey map. It helps you understand the journey that customers go through your product or project, which will help you design for new requirements, as you will know the current state and which changes you will be introducing as part of new iterations. The last one, problem and success landmark. How your product establish clear goals and what is considered done. So when you define a solution, to make sure it has addressed the original problems, knowing the problem and success landmark is really important. And this also help you in terms of scope creep, which problems that you would prioritize to add into your iteration and which one you will put it as out of scope. Get things done from insight to action. Finally, this is where your BA magic becomes visible. Getting things done isn't about being busy. It's about setting clear sprint goals, knowing when we've succeeded and why, making learning part of the delivery rhythm, and bringing delivery stakeholders and insights into clear direction. This is where we close the loop, where the hypothesis become working software, and where insights meets implementation. Here we go. So each ceremony plays a key role in creating momentum and maintaining alignment. Most effective teams don't just schedule these activities, they deliberately design each one, understand the value each brings, and then have clear rules for participations and outcomes they're aiming for. Remember that the spaces between formal activities are equally important as well. Ensure your team is aligned, and especially if these agile ceremonies are not set at the time you join the team, it's important that it don't feel overwhelmed and you stagger it in a way where the most important are scheduled first and you space it out with the value you are planning to add to the team. So these are some samples of usual agile ceremonies and their cadence. So as you see, in daily, when a story kickoffs and desk checks are a good way to find out if stories have enough details, as well as when it finishes to see if it has achieved the intended outcome. Daily stand-ups is quick team sync, high energy, and we bring the team up to date what we're working today, tomorrow, and if there's any blockers, and creates conversation to work together and collaborations when needed. And for fortnightly, you will have as a BA to facilitate a backlog grooming session, a sprint retro session, and a fortnightly planning session which plans for the next week. Story estimation is equally important and a muscle that you should build as a team, as it could be challenging depending on the context and information have you in the project, as well as the dependency complexity. So it's also important to have sprint check-ins where brief check-in progress to see the goals set for the sprint are on track or off track, and if there's pivots or support needed. Also, as monthly, it's good to have some cross-functional updates if you're working in a big product and there's teams who's working in technical release notes, marketing activities, supports, as well as many other things. Sometimes it could be one team working on all these core things. In that case, you don't need this meeting monthly. And product quality forum could be a good check-in to see how many incidents you have, how many delivery updates you did for the month, and if there are any incidents that you want to avoid in future. And last, the showcase. This is always good if you have senior stakeholders where you want to share your impactful progress, and you can take turns, share it as a team, create this as a platform to achieve and celebrate what you've achieved throughout the month. And it's equally important you have a quarterly planning session where at the beginning of any quarter the team have clarity of what you're expected to do in the quarter, and it goes a long way. Even though the product manager drives it or the product owner, it's really good to have the understanding yourself as a BA and to be able to articulate it and share that understanding within the team while they execute the tasks. And most important thing is plan for real capacity, not for ideal capacity. Capacity planning is a very important task in any team. Even the best sprints can derail without visibility to actual team availability. So to have a planned leave training calendar that everybody has to put their time away in a central place helps this to make things easier. I usually do it with a Confluence page or a shared calendar where everybody can put their calendars in and leave plans in. And therefore, you can plan for the real capacity. And if there's unplanned leave or request, we keep a note of when it happens so we have a good explanation if there's reduced effort within the sprint. So the key elements in this capacity planning is the week-based breakdown of each planned leave and planned supports and public holidays. And keeping it visible as a shared resource help other team members to plan their work and collaboration according to availability of other team members. Sprint goal setting. A good sprint goal is always outcome oriented. It's not just a task list. And it helps align the team and stakeholder priorities. And when you set the goal, the feasible capacity and blockers are considered as deciding factors. So how do we measure success? At the end of the sprint, we can see if the goals are met and how much velocity versus capacity did we over or under commit, and adjust your commitment next time depending on your learning. Then team confidence. Did it feel like we moved to the sprint with confidence, or did it feel like we'll have to figure a lot of uncertainties while we executing the things we committed? And then the stakeholder feedback, how the stakeholders feel about it. Did they feel it went well? Did they feel it did not? It's also equally important to keep stakeholders informed what you have achieved within the sprint and what goals you have achieved. End of the sprint learning is where the retro will come into play, and you can talk with the team what helped you succeed and what slowed them down and what do you want to try out or improve for next sprints. And there's really fun and engaging templates for retros these days. You have Miro, you have Canva, you have really fun activities where you can share your kudos, share your lessons, and take some action items to keep improving. Final stamp. Being a business analyst isn't about owning the room. It's about owning the clarity in the room. Your job is see the fog, walk through it, and help others see the path. May it be domain, may it be delivery. So let's keep learning, reflecting, and elevating this craft together. And you're placed in a really good position where you can make others feel good about their achievements. You will be able to see what people achieve firsthand, what effort they're putting. So spread some positivity. If there's learnings to do, help them lift the burden, enable them. You're in the best place to do all these things and share a positive impact in terms of commercially as a team member. So I've created a Canva board with everything you've seen today: slides, frameworks, and workshops tools organized for a real BA user. If you're stepping into a new role as a BA, just drop me a message or drop a comment and I will share this link with you. And also please feel free to share the feedback. I have put all the slides in a Canva tool, and then I will share these details as well as some templates that I'm planning to add with scripts and facilitation tips which will help you set your foundation as a strong business analyst. Thank you. See you in my next video.